I've got a cargo van. Now, what do I do with it? I'm going to talk about that on this segment of the Gig Geezer. If this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, if you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, thanks for coming by. And if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. It is Friday morning, August 11, 2023. I am in the midst of transporting cargo from Charlotte to Duncan, South Carolina. Duncan is in the Greenville-Spartanburg metropolitan area, and more specifically, this is going to a location in the vicinity of the BMW plant. This trip is paying $150, covering 83 miles specifically. You can say 85 miles. The initial offer was $119. I bid $150, and it was like I almost got an automatic approval on it. That said, this segment of the Gig Geezer is not similar to the question of how do you start a sprinter/cargo van business. Starting a business involves more of the administration of things, the paperwork side, in that you're talking about the paying of taxes, the paying of fees, you're dealing with the registering of a business name and the establishing of business checking accounts and getting a DUNS number and establishing business credit. And if you're considering driving over interstate commerce or intrastate commerce, then you have to look into getting a DOT number and more than likely an MC number. Now this segment is more of about, well, when reality sets in. The reality part is now you've made the transaction for that van, either by a cash purchase or in my case financing, and now you've got to think about, what do you do with this thing? How do I make money? How do I create some positive cash flow in order to keep things going? I mean, the very basis of business is to bring in more than what's going out. Now you've got the ball in your hand. How do you begin to move the ball downfield? And that's what this segment is pretty much about. One of the things I've talked about in recent segments of the Gig Geezer, in fact, here's the thumbnail to it. I talked about what is your break point. And the break point is, as I showed, the intersection of your costs and revenues. When your costs are here, your fixed and variable costs are here, and your revenue begins to meet where those costs are, and hopefully the revenue will go beyond that. Hopefully your revenue will go beyond that intersection in order to show profitability. Now, so again, you've got your van. You've gotten beyond the initial moment of euphoria, having completed the transaction. So now maybe you've already been doing your research, you've already been doing your homework, but now you're doing additional research and homework because you're really looking into now. It has a little more clarity to you in your search of looking for ways and means of making money. So what do? You look at content similar to mine. You look at other content, and you may look at when someone says, "Hey, medical courier, $2,500 a week. Hey, over the road, $10,000 a month," or whatever. But whichever direction you go, you're hoping that it's gonna result in you making money, which is again the goal. Allow me to let you in on the truth here. I was there back in December 2022. I completed a transaction for this sprinter/cargo van on December 16th, and from that point forward, over the remainder weeks in December, I searched the internet every single day once I got in, looking into what can I do to make the money that I would like to make. In fact, it carried over into January. And I've shared in past segments of the Gig Geezer how there were terms that I was slow at wrapping my brain around, but then eventually I wrapped my brain around it, and then I kind of started making decisions as to what direction I wanted to go. Now, I will tell you this. There is no cookie cutter way of going about doing this. There is no single correct way of making this work. There are none. There are no single then again, there is no fast lane way of making the money that you may see in those ads or advertisements on Glassdoor and Indeed and here on YouTube. There is no fast lane way of getting to the money that you want to make. What I will share also is that you're likely to get a lot more unsolicited advice. Unsolicited is a term that my daughter used during her childhood because she had not learned the word unsolicited. And so unsolicited sounded, as you can get it, it sounds similar to, unsolicited sounds much similar to unsolicited. So you're likely to see a lot more unsolicited advice and criticism than you are going to find more concrete, valid information out there, be it here on YouTube or anywhere else you search. Now, personally speaking, the ones who annoy me the most are the people who are doing this. Yeah, $2,500 a week medical courier. Yes, now's the time to get into the cargo van business. But then you turn around and say that the trucking business is going down when the cargo van business is affected by the trucking business as well, because the cargo van is at the lowest rung of the transportation realm. In fact, the rates are bad for the trucks as they are for the vans. But you're not out there, so you don't know. So, but you're telling people, oh, now's the time. But then you're giving conflicting information. So that's the stuff that annoys me. The other stuff that annoys me is these people who are telling you, oh yeah, you can make all this money, but they're not out there. They're not out there putting in the grind. There's no qualification of what they're saying. They're just reading and regurgitating information that they've gathered for clickbait. That's just those are the facts. There is no substitute for experience, because once you've experienced it, you'll know it for yourself, and also nobody can take it from you what you've learned. Now, another thing is that you may hear people tell you about, oh, you need a business plan. Well, let me give you an answer about a business plan. Business plans are nice. They're basically like a resume. You're telling someone on paper what you'd like to do with your business in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years down the road. A business plan consists of for the most part, a business plan consists of these topics or these areas of these points of interest. There's a summary. Like a resume, you're going to give a summary of your qualifications. Then there's the objective, what you want to do with your business. Then there's a mission and keys to success. And basically, you're sharing what is your personal philosophy of how you would go about doing business. In other words, when I created a business plan for my insurance agency back in 2016, and let me give a little further clarification on that. Back in 2016, I had ended a run basically of being a captive agent. I'd worked at Allstate for almost a year, and then I had a very bad experience working at a Nationwide, and then and by mid 2016 I looked into going on my own, but I didn't know how. And so what I did was I kind of took up another person's reference and got on partnering with a larger agency that kind of served as what we call a managing general agency. They were of a smaller level managing general agency. They had the contracts, and so my getting on with them gave me access to the contracts to the carriers to write business. But before I got on with those people, the guy asked me, okay, I want you to send me your business plan. I never had done a business plan, so I researched and put one together. He liked it, and so that's really the background of how I'm sharing all this information. And so what I shared was treating customers as if I'm writing business for myself. That was my mission to keys to success. So then you have a startup summary. A startup summary then is what you already have on the table, what you have in motion to starting up your business. Then what services you'll be offering. So in the sprinter/cargo van, it could be expediting, it could be light hauling, moving, it could be over the road. Those are the services that you offer. And then what is your market, your target market, and modes of revenue. What you're doing is you're explaining how you plan to go about making that money. So as I've shared in this segment of Gig Geezer, I talked about like the gig apps, or over the road, or the cash game, or there are other modes and methods. In fact, I'm gonna point out some other means and ways to try to make money with your Sprinter/Cargo Van. Another thing is like marketing. How are you gonna market your business? This is all part of a business plan. I know I'm really going off into business plan, but I really want to share some things that what people don't talk about. So with the Sprinter/Cargo Van, is it word of mouth? Is it, do you flip out business cards? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna get the word out there about your plan of operation, your personal enterprise? And then what are your income goals? Where do you see yourself 1 year down the road, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? Well, all that is the same. When I put together that business plan in June 2016, I hit all those things up to the first year of income goals. After that, in 2017, things went a different way. During 2017, I learned that I had an arthritic hip, and ultimately I needed hip replacement surgery. I did have hip replacement surgery in 2018, and my main mode of making money also had flipped. From in 2016, most of my money was made, or just about all my money was made as an insurance agent. By the time 2018 come around, it was gig apps, Uber, Lyft, eventually Roadie, Amazon Flex, and then eventually DoorDash and the like. So the business plan kind of is like a written framework of what you want to do, but it's not etched in stone. It's just to impress somebody, to let them know on paper what you want to do. Now, by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer, or in any other segment of Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. Now, before you even had gotten into a Sprinter/Cargo Van, you should have asked yourself some of these questions. Are you willing to invest in yourself? But even if you didn't ask those questions beforehand, you've got the van now. You've got to ask yourself, are you willing to invest in yourself? Or you should be saying, I got to invest in myself. I do find it laughable when I've seen people comment on a lot of content here on YouTube, how they're bitching and railing and complaining about some places asking you to pay for a goddamn hot cold bag when you want to do catering stuff. You expect for them to give you a fucking bag. Look, if you claim to be in business for yourself and they ask you to get a goddamn hot cold bag, hey, you are investing in yourself even beyond them, because it can be used for other things other than the app and that specific app. In fact, when you invest in yourself, it is ultimately a tax write-off for the next year, when you file next year, man. So I don't understand why people bitch and complain about that. But that's a W-2 mindset. When you're an employee, you expect the boss to, the job, the boss to provide you everything. It's almost like, so you expect for the boss to provide you everything when you're an employee. But when you're in business, you got to do that shit for yourself. And so you got to change your mindset. You are looking to invest in yourself to make money. You know, you got to have, I understand that you've got to have money to make money, but you also got to invest in yourself to make money as well. So then, what are some of the other things that you be investing in yourself when you have a Sprinter/Cargo Van? Well, I mentioned about the hot cold bags as if you do the gig work or the catering work, but then you may have to have cup holders. You got to invest in cup holders, man. But when you go beyond that, if you're thinking of really truly with the Sprinter/Cargo Van, you know, you got to invest in a good dolly, a 4-in-1 dolly, ideally one that where the handles change and then it could be like a little cart, or then it could change back to being a dolly, and it's also of good moving strength, and that you want something that can transport in upwards of 800 pounds. So that means you can put a refrigerator on there and it won't struggle with it. Moving blankets, bungee cords, plywood for your E-track, maybe ratchet straps, a first aid kit, emergency warning triangles, shrink wrap. You may need shrink wrap when you're in a moving situation or in a delivery situation. And I'll give you a good example. Last week I had a home improvement store pickup, and it was a cabinet, and it just so happened it looked like it was going to rain. And now initially I looked at putting it on their front porch, but they didn't have enough room for it. So I'm thinking that what I may have to do is wrap this thing up so it won't get wet and get ruined by the rain. Wrap it up real good with the shrink wrap, and then put it in a place that's close to a dry area, because there really was no dry area other than up on the porch. Well, just as I'm about to leave, the people say, "Hey, look, they were looking for me to take it inside," and I told them I can't take it inside, and I wasn't about to take it inside. So they eventually cleared some space on the porch, and I put the cabinet up there on the porch, and it was shrink wrapped so that it would not be affected by the rain. That's just one example, but you also use shrink wrap to when you're properly moving furniture for people or you're delivering furniture for people. That's what shrink wrap is for. In fact, also when you have palletized loads and you have a bunch of boxes, the shrink wrap keeps the items on the pallet in place. Sometimes though, you may need to do a better job than what they've done. That shit they only went around once, and it's kind of moving as it's being put on. So sometimes you need shrink wrap for that very reason. Okay. I mentioned about shrink wrap. Then there's a tire plug kit. You may need a tire plug kit because, hey, there's always that possibility. You may need a hydraulic jack. I've got these things in my van. I got a 3-ton hydraulic jack right to the bottom right of me for my van when I need to rotate my tires or do a tire plug or whatever. What else? Emergency triangles, battery cables, a 4-in-1 battery starter, a battery jumper / air pump, and then also business cards or other means of getting your name out there. So I know that I've talked nearly 20 minutes on this, and by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. Now, where you start in your operation and ownership of a sprinter / cargo van may be based on your past experience. In my case, I'd been doing the gig food delivery work for the previous 3 years. And so it was, as I've shared many times now, it was merely a transition for me going from operating out of an F-150 or before that a Pathfinder, and before that a Maxima, and before that a Ford Taurus into a sprinter / cargo van. And so basically all I was doing was just using the van to deliver someone's dinner or lunch or catering opportunity, as opposed to the F-150. And then from there I got on with other gig apps that were more last mile delivery and more geared towards the actual delivery of much more substantial items. In fact, here's an example of one yesterday. That was 2,300 pounds of 4x4s, 4x8s, 2x4s, and 10 bags of cement, and then 100 slabs of picket fencing. Yeah. But it paid. It was definitely worth the while. It was definitely worth the while. One thing that I would share with you at this juncture, what I hadn't shared earlier, is that what you're going to find is that if you get a sprinter / cargo van, it is a very versatile vehicle, in that you're able to do a lot of things. And this is where I've used the term giving you a greater earnings capacity. And so I also realized that I've not really showed you exact things, but I'm going to share some other things that I have seen and I have seen, at least in my browsing around on YouTube, and just other ideas that I know from this sprinter/cargo van. All right, so what I'm getting at is that there is more than one way to make money. I've said this already multiple times. There's more than one way to make your money operating out of your sprinter/cargo van. Personally, for me, it's been the gig food delivery apps, and also the over-the-road slash regional work. And I keep saying that I'm working on developing a cash gain. Okay, I've done something that would be counted as a cash. I've done things that is considered as a part of the cash gain, but they've been on a very limited basis. But very soon, I'll have things in place to where I'm really going to be working towards building a cash gain. But there are other ways of using your van, because your van is very versatile. Your van is your money, man. Just like your van and your phone are your money, okay? And so you got to treat it that way. Now, how some people have used the van to make money? I know of a couple I seen earlier this week on YouTube. They have a pizza stand up in Michigan. They make pizza from their sprinter/cargo van. Instead of using a food trailer or the conventional food truck, they use a sprinter van. In fact, it's a Ford 250 Transit extended body van. Yes. Another one is a dog salon. This is one that I've seen in the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area. In fact, I've seen a couple of businesses where they do the dog salon stuff. They clip the claws and they trim the hair and they do all that. They give the dog a bath in the van. It's all done out of the van. Boss K showed an example of a guy who has a mobile tire shop out of his van. He fixed the flats. He changes tire. He puts new tires on out of his van. Yeah. Then there's the traditional food stand. You can create a food stand from your van. You don't have to just do delivery and expediting from your van. There's catering opportunities. In fact, there's a lady whom I am aware of here in the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area. She has gone from just using a converted U-Haul truck to having her own property now, where she bought what used to be a car dealership. It is now the headquarters, or she has the catering operations where she prepares the catering items there, and it's also an events place. So it's all in-house. She doesn't really have to leave from there, but then she still has a sprinter van for large catering opportunities. She has a smaller catering van for the smaller opportunities, and I don't know if she still has the truck now, the converted U-Haul truck, but I have seen the van. What else? Again, there's still the gig apps, but there's a lot of things that you can do with the van, but what direction you go is going to be based on you. And so, and only you can answer that question. But hopefully what I have done is I have kind of nudged you in whatever direction that may cause that light to click for you, that light to come on for you. And hopefully the information that I've shared in this segment of the Gig Geezer is relevant, useful, and helpful to you. And if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane, and as always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.